The story you're about to hear is true, only the names have been changed to protect the innocent. Somewhere in the tangled web of this country, there's a killer on the loose. A fledgling Republican movement had been brutally murdered back in '99. The weapon, a political bludgeon. On the case is Jackie Appleseed and Mimi Shazam, two razor-sharp detectives. Sit back now and join us as we follow the trail to solving this mystery.
Dead men are heavier than broken hearts, to carry the worries and hardship 10,000 miles and back. With my brains and your looks, we could go places. For centuries, Australia had to rely on the know-how from the British Crown. You all seem to like the piece so much, we thought we'd give you another instalment. Australia's only deficiency in Republican culture may be seen not in accepting the British Crown, but on one view, in having self-government handed down from above before Federation, instead of building it from below. He was a guy who talked with commas, like a heavy novel, over the phone anyway. How can we believe that the Queen can satisfy 90 million wants and needs and uphold essential statutory roles within the countries? It will only make things tougher for everybody. 1999 was a time of instinctive decisions, for the nose of the town was selected by benighted and innocent thoughts as a quick move to life. 92% of Australians have now supported putting rest the Queen and acquiring a new head of state from within after being given some time to come to their senses. Let the flag of Australia be its own and not mimic another. Let us be recognised for our sovereignty and not babied by the Dame of the United Kingdom. Those other Commonwealth realms still need training wheels before they can ride around town. Appreciation goes long for the Queen, but it's time to kick those training wheels off and ride solo. We are constantly reminded by the official Republicans that the concern is entirely regarding the Australian head of state. This principle does not lead to the assumption that the head of state must resemble as closely as possible the British constitutional monarch, but the institution of an Australian head of state should build upon the embryonic Republican culture of Australia, as embodied by the founders of the Federation, with their prominence on institutional design and on popular participation. Whether or not the head of state is ethnic or not, the leadership should be in the hands of one of our own, to endure the exciting vim of traditional celebrations or the anxious stress of a country's crisis, to be led by our own, to act upon periodic issues with immediate practical solutions. Let the power be given to the leaders who stand in the midst of the chaos and voice our interests and beliefs in Parliament. Bring forward another referendum so that we may elect the righteous one to protect the rights and freedoms of the country. So load your gat, don your trench coat, and join us once more in the drizzling, treacherous world of power.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I was a young dame, a red-headed vixen with a temper to match. Just another broad with big ideas and even bigger things to say. The 1967 referendum was the talk of the town. I was fresh on the scene with new ideas and a new hairdo to boot. The kind of do that would make any man weak at the knees. It was a time for women, a time for this country to recognise their First Nations people. But like so many times before, though we seemed to win the vote, the man still won. That day, the win tasted sweet like victory. But just like any sweet, it dissolved into nothingness and left a bitter remnant, reminding us of what we thought we had was actually nothing now, but sugar to rot our teeth and rot our dreams. The referendum was a reductive, deceptive display of democracy, giving people the option of choosing between a system created by the man or a system created by the man. He played the gentleman, while all the while capitalising on Australia's historical resistance to recognising our First Nations people and spooking birds post-Mabo that this threatened the security of their nests. Yeah, that's the kind of political strategic timing that could give you vertigo. How is it that Australia is progressive enough to voluntarily adopt federation, yet still we're the only Commonwealth country yet to navigate a treaty with our Indigenous people? That's cold. Colder than my ex-husband's heart. This ragtag place we call home has changed in its work patterns, tech, diversity, and how we relate. Folks would say now, we don't trust the man. Our sense of community is like how a field mouse feels walking through a pit of sleeping vipers. Our national identity has more holes in it than ScoMo's COVID plan. Janes, they just want to sing for greater equity and independence. Dames in power with equal dough, accessible childcare, and motherhood endowments. How about getting these heels to participate in unpaid household labour and putting caps on their working hours? This crazy mixed up world made men citizens without a lick of effort, where us sisters had to claim that right. Recognition in the preamble is but one step, but social and political changes must follow. The social contract tells us that government sovereignty is imposed by the people, so that means all people. We are a multicultural and diverse nation of cool cats. Instead of the man who smells like a badly mixed martini and a cheap Cuban, we need progressive political leadership to rectify the current race powers and guarantee we are free from all discrimination. Treaty remains more important, so why has the big cheese rejected the Uluru Statement of the Heart? We learnt from that 67 referendum that symbolic representation would not cut the mustard. Forcing this square peg into a round hole cut by the man just forces us to play his games. Changing the Australian flag, the national anthem and the currency? How about introducing a Bill of Rights? Well, that would crack this case wide open. But for now, it looks like this classy vamp is back on the case.